In this lesson, we're looking at ratios and proportions. So what is a ratio? Well, a ratio is a comparison of two or more quantities, commonly known as a fraction. Fraction is a ratio. It compares the top part to the bottom part. Okay. Now, the way to represent a ratio is A to B. So we have three ways. We have A over B, A to B, and A colon B. So they're all, if you read these, they're all read the same way. This is comparing A to B, and A to B. When you're reading a word problem, whatever comes first is your numerator. Whatever comes after the word to is your denominator, because it's always going to say you can compare this to this. The word to, so what comes before the word to is your numerator. What comes after is your denominator. So in this case, A to B in the middle one, it means A goes on top, B goes on bottom. Now, one thing to remember, any fraction can always be simplified if possible. So if you ask you to find a ratio, you're going to always put that in simplest form. So let's take a look at an example here. Music stores. They have 40 trumpets, 39 clarinets, 24 violins, and 51 flutes, and 16 trombones. Write each ratio in simplest form. So let's take a look here. We are going to compare these two here, and I just typically like to work these as a fraction, but it really doesn't matter, whatever you're most comfortable with. So we're going to look at trumpets. We got 40 trumpets. Trumpets comes first, so we're going to put 40 on top. And then we're comparing this to violins. So we look over for violins, we got 24. And then we check to see if we can reduce this. And we can. Okay, we can reduce it down by, let's see here, we can do by 8, because 8 goes into both, so 8. So we're dividing by 8 here, so 40 divided by 8 is 5. And 24 divided by 8 is 3. So our answer is 5/3. So the ratio is 5 to 3. Okay, let's look at flutes to clarinets. Okay, so once again, we're going to go find flutes here, which flutes are 51 flutes. And we're going to put this over clarinets here. So clarinets is 39. And we look to see, can it be simplified? Okay, well, I know that if 5 plus 1 is 6, 3 plus 9 is 12, so I know 3 goes into this. So 3 goes into 51 17 times, and 3 goes into 39 13 times. And since both these numbers are prime, they can't be reduced any further, so we know that's our answer. All right, so you guys try number 3 and 4. All right, so let's see how you did. There are 16 trombones, and there are 40 trumpets. So we looked for a number that can be simplified here. So I know 8 goes into both, so 8 goes into 16 twice, and 8 goes into 45 times. These cannot be reduced any further, so we get 2 over 5. And let's see how you did with the violins to total instruments. So violins, we have 24. Now the total instruments. Well, this becomes where we have to add up all of our total. Okay, so we're going to add up 40 plus 39 plus 24 plus 51 plus 16, and that number is going to come out to be 170. So we look to simplify this. We know they're both even, so we know it can be divided by 2. So let's try this. We know this is going to be 6. This is going to be 8, so we know it's not going to be a 3. Can't go into it, so we get 12 over, and this would be, let's see, 85. And then we look to see, if you add 8 plus 5, it gets 13. So 3 can't go into it. 4 is not going to go into it. So this is as far as it can be done, and so 12 over 85 is our final answer. So now let's look at what we call an extended ratio. Extended ratios are very useful. Okay, they're comparison of 3 or more quantities. Extended ratios are written as A to B to C. A lot of different ways to use extended ratios here, and let me give you a few examples of that. A ratio of 2 complementary angles is 3 to 7. Find the measure of the angles. Well, complementary, what does that mean? That means that we're going to add up to 90 degrees. Okay, complementary is 90, supplementary is 180. So the ratio of 2 complementary angles is 3 to 7. Now the way we do this, okay, is we take the ratio they give us and we're going to multiply it by this common term x. Okay, so we get 3x and 7x. Because we're adding to get our angles to be complementary, so we're going to say this 3x plus 7x is equal to 90. So we take 3 plus 7, and that's going to give us 10x equals to 90. Divide by 10, and x is equal to 9. So find the measure of both angles, which means our first angle is going to be 3 times 9. which is going to give us 27 degrees. And then the other angle here is going to be 7 times 9, which is going to be 63. We can always check it by doing 27 plus 63 and see if those add up to equal 90, and they should. Okay, so those are our two answers. So let's look at the next one. Okay. The ratio of two supplementary angles is 4:1. Find the measures of both angles. Well, we know that supplementary, we just talked about it, is going to equal 180. So that means that 4x plus 1x, or just x, is equal to 180. Gives me 5x equals 180. Divide by 5. And x is equal to 36. So we can do 4 times 36. That's going to give us 144. And then we're going to do, we know the other one is just going to be x, which is going to be just 36. So our two answers are 144 degrees and 36 degrees. And if you check, those do add up to equal 180. All right, so you guys try 7 and 8. Pause your video, come back and check your answer when you're done. All right, let's see how you did. All right, so one thing here, we have the ratios, the measures of the angles of a triangle are 4 to 7 to 9. We know the angles of a triangle add up to equal 180. So we're going to have 4x plus 7x plus 9x equals 180. Add up our x's here. That's going to be 4 and 7 is 11. 11 plus 9 is 20, so we get 20x equals 180. Divide by 20. X is equal to 9. So now the first angle here is 4 times 9. That's going to give us 36. 7 times 9, that's going to give us 63. And then we have 9 times 9, which is going to give us 81. So we have 36, 63, and 81. Those are our three angles. So hopefully you got those. And then the next one here, it says, write the ratio of the measures of angles of a triangle 11 to 2 to 5. Find the measures of the largest angle. So now we're only looking for one different angle we have to answer for, but we have to do the same process to find the measure of x first. So 11x plus 2x plus 5x equals 180. Add up our x's here. That's 11 plus 2 is 13. 13 plus 5 is 18, so we get 18x equals 180. Divide by 18. That means that x is equal to 10. So now we're only looking for the largest angle, so the one that would be the largest angle is the one with the largest number here. So we're going to do 11 times 10, and that's going to give us 110 degrees. All right. Let's take a look at another two. The ratio of the measures of the sides of a triangle are 2 to 8 to 9. If the perimeter of the triangle is 76 inches, find the length of each side. So once again, the side lengths here, it's not going to add to 180, it's going to add to a perimeter, which is going to give us 76. So we have 2x plus 8x plus 9x is equal to 76. Add them up. That gives me 10 plus 9 is 19, so 19x equals 76. Now we divide by 19, and x is going to equal 4. So to find the measure, we're going to do 2 times 4, which gives us 8. Then we're going to get 8 times 4, which gives us 32. And the last one here is going to be 9 times 4, which gives us 36. So our sides are 8, 32, and 36. All right, the last one here. Number 10, it says the ratio of the measures of the sides of a triangle are 10 to 15 to 6. If the perimeter of the triangle is 217, find the length of the shortest side. So now we're looking for just the shortest side here. So we're going to have same setup, 10x plus 15x plus 6x equals 180. Excuse me, not 180. 217. Add up our x's, that gives us 25 plus 6 is 31x equals 217. Divide by 31. X is equal to 7. So now we're looking for the shortest side here, which means we're looking at the shortest ratio, which would be 6. So 6 times 7 is going to give us 42. So it's 42, and then this is going to be meters. So 42 meters is our answer. All right, so now let's look at a proportion. An equation that states two ratios are equal, okay, that is what a proportion is. Now, you've probably done proportions before, so this is kind of a review. A proportion is written as A over B is equal to C times D. And now we're going to look at the cross product property, okay? This is where you cross multiply. I'm sure you guys remember this, but if you don't, you're going to multiply A times D and B times C. Some people may have called it the butterfly multiplication, okay, but it's cross products. So A times D is multiplying there, and you set it equal to the other product, which is B times C. And remember, you can multiply those in any order. So let's take a look at how we do this. We got a few basic ones here. So let's look at number 11. We're going to cross multiply here, so we're going to multiply these here and these here. Now, I like to put the x's on my left side if I can, so I get 2x is equal to 4 times 7. So 4 times 7, which is 2x, is equal to 28. Now we divide by 2. X is equal to 14. So our missing part here. Now, you can also look at this relationship here as, and proportions can be solved a lot of different ways. Notice that the 2 goes into 4 twice by multiplying by 2, or you can say 4 goes into 2, or 4 becomes 2 by dividing by 2. So what can I divide by 2 to get 7? That's going to be 14. Or you can just always cross multiply. So not every time does there other relationships exist or are easy to see. Okay, sometimes there are, sometimes they're not. So this one here, there's nothing really easy to look at and see, so let's cross multiply. So we get 10 times x equal to 19 times 12. Now you don't always have to write these two things, 19 times 12. You can just go ahead and multiply it out. So 10x is equal to 228. Now we divide by 10, and x is equal to 22.8. Now let's get to one where we have an expression over here. So when we multiply this, this is going to be 19 times x minus 1 equal to 6 times 13. Now when you multiply through by this, we have to make, it's always good to put parentheses around here to remind you have to multiply this bottom right number, 19, through both parentheses. So this gives us 19x minus 19 equals 6 times 13, which is going to give us 78. Add 19. So it'll be, let's see, 97 equal to 19x. And now we're going to divide here by 19. That's going to give me that x is going to be equal to 5.1. So it's not always going to come out to be a whole number, okay, especially when you have these expressions like this. So it's okay. You just make sure you pay attention to what they ask you to round to. And this is like 5.10526. So this, if we round to the nearest tenth, which is 1 decimal place, is 5.1. All right, let's try the next one. This time we're going to multiply, cross multiply. We have 5 times x plus 4. So I write it in parentheses first. And I have 17 times 19. So that is going to give us 153. Okay, 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 4 is 20. 153. Subtract 20. 5x is equal to 133. Divide by 5. We know it's not going to go into it evenly, so x is going to give us a decimal. So when we do 133 divided by 5, that's going to give us 26.6. Let's see here. Oh, I multiplied wrong here. Let me multiply back here again. 19 times 17 is 323. So let's go back and change this here real quick. Now we can finish this out. So this is 323. So when we multiply here, we still get 5x plus 20. And then when we subtract here, 5x is equal to 303. Now it's looking a little bit better here. And now we divide by 5. And then we get 303 divided by 5 is going to give us 60.6. All right, so you try this next one. Try number 15 and 16 and see how you do. All right, so let's make sure you set it up correctly here. So I'm going to get 20 times 2x minus 9 equal to 9 times 10, which is 90. Multiplied by 20, that gives me 40x minus 180 equals 90. All right, so now I'm going to cross multiply here, or I've already cross multiplied. I'm going to bring the 180 over, so I'm going to add 180. So 40x is equal to 90 plus 180, which is going to give us 270. Divide by 40. The zeros cancel. So 4 goes into 27, 6.75 times. So x is equal to 6.75. All right, let's look at the next one here. We've got 18 times 3x plus 4 equal to 12 times 15, which is going to give us 180. Distribute the 18 through, that's going to give us 54x. That's going to give us 72. Subtract 72. 54x is equal to 108, which after we divide by 54, that's going to give us that x is equal to 2. All right, so now we got a couple variable expressions. And it really doesn't matter which one you put on the left or right because it all work out in the end. But what I like to do is I like to pick the one that was going to give me the larger x and put it. So if I multiply 18 times x, that's going to give me 18x. 3 times x is 3x. So I'm going to put the 18 on the left. So I'm going to do 18x minus 20 equal to 3 times x minus 11. So now we have to distribute on both sides. That gives us 18x minus, this will give us, let's see here, that's going to be, what, 360? And then we put equals, this gives us 3x minus 33. And now I'm going to bring the smaller x, 3x over, which means I got to bring the 360 the other side. So this gives me 15x, and a negative 33 and a positive 360 is going to give me a positive 327. Divide by 15. And so then x is going to give us 21.8. Okay. Now, this one here, we're going to cross multiply here, which is going to give us 7 will make it larger. 3 times 6 gives me 18, so that'll be larger. So we're going to put 6 over here times 3x plus 3 on the left, 7 parentheses x plus 16 on the right. Distribute 18x minus or plus 18, 7x plus, that should give me, what, 112. Okay, now I'm going to subtract 7x. That's going to give us 11x. I'm going to subtract 18. So 11x is equal to, that's going to give us 94. Divided by 11. That gives us that x is equal to about 8.5. All right. So let's take a look at our last two here. These are a little more challenging because they're going to involve some factoring and some FOIL. So this kind of goes back. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross multiply here. We're going to have x minus 1 times x plus 5 equals 5 times 27. Okay, so remember when you do this, you FOIL. Sometimes you're told something different here. So first, outside, inside, last. So that gives me x times x is x squared. Okay, so that times this. Then we do outside, so that's going to be x times 5. This will be 5x. Inside, negative 1 times x is negative x. And then last is the two last numbers, negative 1 times 5 is going to be a negative 5. And if we multiply here, 5 times 27, that's going to give us 135. So we're going to simplify each number here, each term. So x squared, this will be 5x minus x is plus 4x minus 5. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have to bring over the 135 because we want to get this to 0. So we're going to subtract 135 from both sides. And it's only going to subtract from the 135. So that's going to give us a negative 140 equals 0. And so now to find our solution for x's, we're going to have two of them. So what we do is we factor here. We think of what number can I multiply to get 140 that will subtract, because it's negative in front of it, subtract to get 4. That's going to be 10 times 4. Excuse me, 10 times 14. Okay, that gives us 140. Now, the difference there, so it means we want a positive number, positive 4x, which means the larger number needs to be positive, the smaller number needs to be negative. And then you take each one, set it equals 0. So x plus 14 equals 0, and x minus 10 equals 0. And what you're going to find is just opposite what the sign is in there, because when we subtract 14 from both sides, you get x is equal to negative 14. And when we add 10 to both sides, you get x is equal to a positive 10. So our two solutions here, so for x is going to be, and a lot of times you used to see them in brackets, is going to be negative 14 and positive 10. All right, so you guys try the next one. All right, so let's see how you did. We get 2x plus 5, x minus 6 equals 6 times 7. So that's going to give us 2x squared minus 12x plus 5x minus 30 equals 42. Combining like terms here, so 2x squared, this will be negative 12 and positive 5 is going to be a negative 7x minus 30 equals 42. So we're going to bring the 42 over by subtracting. So 2x squared minus 7x, this will give us a negative 72 equals 0. All right, so a couple ways to do this here. There's a method I call kind of bottoms up or Watson's rule. What you do is you take the number off the first. Okay, so we're going to take the number off the front and we're going to the back number. We're going to come over here and multiply them. So we 2 times a negative 72. That's going to give us a negative 144. Okay, so we're going to replace this now. We're going to say x squared minus 7x minus 144 is equal to 0. And we're going to factor this. So we get x and x. And so we want a number that's going to multiply to get 144. That will subtract to become 7. Okay. So let's see here what we can get here. What number can we multiply to get 144 that would subtract to become 7? Well, we can think of all the factors of 144, which are 12 times 12. So you could take any of those factors, 3 times 4 and 3 times 4, or you could do 6 times 2. A lot of different factors you can use here. So let's see here. If I chose the, let's see here. We can get maybe 18 here. So let's see here. 18. Let's see, that's not going to get us the 7. All right, so we can also use, we can break this down. We could also have used, instead of 6 times 2, 3 times 4. That would give us 16 times 9. So if you do 16 times 9, that would give us 144, subtract to get 7, so that's going to work. So when the negative, since it's -7, with the larger number to be negative, other number is positive here. And so then the last step here is what people forget to do a lot of times is, this is called bottoms up, because you got to bring the 2. What you took off from the front, you divide everything by that front number. So this gives us 9/2. Now this can't simplify, but 16 and 2 can simplify. So what we do is we bring this, if it can't simplify, we bring the 2 out front. So this will become 2x plus 9 times x minus 8. And then we're going to set it equal to 0. So we get 2x plus 9 equals 0 and x minus 8 equals 0. Subtract 9, so this becomes 2x equals -9. Divide by 2, x equals a -9/2. And then add this 8 to the other side. X is equal to a +8. So those are our two solutions here of x equals 8 and x equals -9/2. All right, so that's it for our lesson on ratios and proportions.